Hey guys, welcome to Code Blue. Welcome, welcome. Here is my brother Mark Copeland. Mark, how you doing today?
I'm great, Denard. How are you? You good?
I'm hanging in there, brother. I'm hanging in there. It's Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day to all the single folks. Hopefully you get your gifts, you get your how you call it? You get your roses, your
Your
chocolate,
roses.
all
Mm-hmm.
that good stuff for Valentine's Day. Happy Black History Month. Hope you guys celebrating all the inventions, all the sacrifices that were made throughout Black History. See, I have my Black History shit on here. Um, so all those who went to jail, all those who sacrificed, all those who had all those hardships to get us where we need to be today. So thank you to all of them, and thank you to you guys for tuning in. And we'll get right into our intro. So we'll see you on the other side. Guys, welcome back. And I just want to remind you guys of one little thing, one simple little. Guys, please like and subscribe to the channel. And if you can, use your pinky finger. Use your pinky finger and hit that notification bell so you will be notified every time we have new content coming out. So thank you guys. Mark, what's going on? What's going on in your neck of the woods?
Well, it's Valentine's Day tomorrow, today, yeah, and I took care of the people in my life that
All right.
need to be taken care of, my
Okay.
wife, and
All right.
kids,
Yep.
um, and so I may make it to March. Well, I'll survive till March. Um, yeah, but it's great to be on here, man. I like it and love talking to you guys. And um, it's funny. Actually, we were just talking. I hadn't thought about this. You're talking about your about Black History Month, and you were talking about the people that did made the sacrifices, the people who went to jail, people who did things for others to have a better life. And like we were talking about sterile processing, and I told you, how it's a it's for I don't really know why, other than I have so many friends in sterile processing who, when I was a full time spine rep, bailed me out, helped me, um, and so I become very loyal to those folks, and the appreciation I have for what they do. Sometimes I get a little noisy about it because I'm frustrated that people in positions of in surgery in the OR and sometimes in administration, it's changing, but they don't truly appreciate and understand what you do, and how important what you do is. And so it's interesting that we started the conversation this way, and I sort of feel like there's some parallels. I really do.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. And I think it's always great when you're in an environment where persons help you out, or you feel like you're aided, respected in a way where you can receive that support. So in a sterile processing department, you could say, "Hey, we help you guys out, get your cases done." Sometimes loaners come in early, not to any fault of you guys. Sometimes it's your fault.
Yes, it
but
is.
but everyone needs that help, and sometimes you guys say, "Hey, don't worry about these two trays, only do these three." you know you help us out
Right.
when we in a crunch, or leave this for later, I only need this three right now. And you guys take a chance, because the backups are always great. You could
Yeah.
always, the more backups you have, the better for you.
Well, what's funny, Denard, like too. I remember when we would when we would bring stuff in. Let's say I'm doing a spine case and I'm bringing seven sets of instrument into either it came from the outside or was in the building, right? And we used it yesterday, and we come in and put them back together, put the implants back in it, and I bring it like to you, and you can almost see the sterile processing person's face sort of going like, like going, the question they're going to ask. They're like, okay, when do you need this? Right. And it's, if we were organized and and we are and were, like, to be able to say, hey, listen, I don't need it till next Tuesday. I don't need it till next week. But I figured, like, I have it here and it does us no good just sitting on the shelf, unclean but unsterile. So I want to get it to you so you guys can do it when you have a chance. Right. Like, and I can't tell you how many times in how many different hospitals and surgery centers, sterile processing people are like, oh man, thanks. Appreciate that. And, look, it's not like I'm helping homeless people or anything like that. But I feel like I'm working together, like, because God knows there are times when I bring it in and I'm like, I do need it tomorrow. Right. And we just heard about this. But when you're collaborating, you're working together. And that's, you can see I got my basketball with my Mahomes wig on it because I'm a Chiefs fan for now. But like my basketball, like in basketball, everybody's equal. Like some guys score more, some girls rebound more, but like we're in this together and you got to put the team ahead. And if we're all going to sit here and say, hey, it's all about the patient. We're in it together, right? And I sort of, that's the way I was raised. And so I have a tremendous affinity for the people who do the job every day with whatever the job is, with a smile on their face, particularly in what's in essence a service industry, because I'm in it too. I'm in sales. And so I don't know. I get very protective of my friends in sterile processing. And and I just think I think the more I can talk about you and what you guys do and the value you are, and the better, because I don't have a dog in the fight. Like if sterile processing gets recognized and treated appropriately and invested in the way I believe they should be, I just think that the ORs are better. Patients are better. Patients are safer. Outcomes are better. ORs run better. More people get helped. And you get the respect that you deserve as part of that integral part of that process. And so I talk about it. I talk about it to surgeons. I talk about it to administrators. And nobody's told me I'm crazy yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah, and in the field, everyone is the partnerships are built under pressure usually. So
yeah,
you always remember those persons where when you're in a tight crunch, as you'd say, you need this for a case. I remember when you
yep.
gave the story about you were at dinner with your wife and
Oh,
they they
I
called
don't
you
even
up.
want to
So
think about that again. Yeah.
right. So like you always remember those situations where you're in a tight crunch and someone helps you out, whether it be a flat tire on the road, whether
Right.
it be somebody just lets you at the front of a line because you had to check out and go somewhere else. You know what I mean? Like you always remember those small situations which help you big time.
Yeah.
So I definitely understand from your perspective, and then from a technician standpoint, I do understand um when you backed up with trees and you see that cart come in and you're like, when are those for? Don't tell me that's for tomorrow.
Oh,
So
great. Mark's here. Like
yeah,
it's
Mark's yeah,
hi.
oh
Yeah.
Mark's here again, always bringing his trays
Yay.
on the night before.
Yeah.
And then when you get that, oh hey guys, I was just thinking about, getting those done for next week versus bringing it on Monday night for Tuesday morning.
Yeah.
So,
Well, Denard, like the thing it's funny. I got into a conversation a couple weeks ago with an instrument tech, very smart guy. And he was talking like literally thermodynamics with me, like physics. And I turned to the guy that he reports to, and who I've known for a long time. And I was like, now I'll be honest with you, I didn't expect to come in here and get into a discussion of the second law of thermodynamics, of Newton's second law. But he's right. Like, is this guy? I'm like, he's right. And it brings to the point where what you guys do is so complicated and so complex. irrespective of following instructions for use and guidelines and best practices and all those things, what you do is so complicated. And you think about it, you and I 15 years ago, we weren't doing minimally invasive spines with instruments that are this long with a 1 millimeter cannula. You weren't doing robotic, like Da Vinci
True.
arms that are 30 inches long. That God, I don't even know how you get those things clean, right? You do, but like it takes specific equipment, specific training, and time. Um, Endoscopes, like the if you took those instruments out on the street and said something to somebody, they'd say, What is this thing? It looks like something from uh, like it's not it is not a mallet. It is not a Richardson retractor. It is way more than that. And when people come down and see what you do, because they have to see it. When they see it, man, like I think people start to get it. Um, but they have to see it, you know. And I just don't think enough people come to see what you do.
Yeah. So what is your solution for getting to understand from the sterile processing standpoint? What's how do people get to know? Like what avenues will we have to explore to get it on a wider scale, a
Yeah.
wider stage, so to speak?
I mean, by no means am I'm not an expert in that specific question, but I will tell you, having been in sales and marketing, right, for 25 years, like I think when you guys do newsletters, I think it does a lot more than a lot of people in sterile processing recognize. If you brought me in to run, and God forbid somebody does, but if you asked me to come in and run a sterile processing department, I would get a monthly newsletter, and I would be showing the your KPIs, the things you measure. I would be showing the things that you're trying to do, your improvements that you're making. I would be highlighting staff members, and that's what most of these newsletters do. But it puts names and faces, and it shows that you're what you're. I already know you're doing. You're already trying to make your department better every single day, and you have projects you're working on to improve it. But if they're not in your building and they don't know it, if you
Mhm.
don't if you don't talk about yourself a little bit, nobody else will. Um, and I would put it in front of surgeons. I would put it in front of C-suite people. I'd just send it to them. I literally would send it to them, and then I would invite the highest personnel I can. Perioperative services, surgical services. They should understand they should be in there, but some aren't. I'd go to the CMO. I'd go to the C-suite. I'd say, please come down. Please come visit us. I want to show you what we do, because you take pride in what you do. And they may come, they may not. But they, if you don't invite them, they may never come down. And
True.
because I think like, and have a chance for your people to say, here's what we do. Hey, you know that robotic thing? You guys put a couple $1,000,000 into that Da Vinci. It's awesome. It's great for patients. Here's what happens when that stuff comes to us. Here's what we do. You know, and when they see it, they're smart people. I think they start to realize, do you guys have what you need? You know, because the little secret is the OR is 60% of the revenue of most hospitals. 60%, right? So it's the machine that drives the building. And the machine isn't safe and doesn't go to its full 12 cylinders if my sterile processing department isn't hitting on all 12 cylinders. And that's what I tell people, like you have a 12-cylinder OR and you have a 4-cylinder sterile processing department that you're dragging behind your OR because you haven't given them the equipment they need. It's just so obvious. It's so logical. But if you don't sing for yourself, many won't. Like, you know, so um, so that those are the things that I think are important, and explaining. Like I send you those videos. I think those videos are important because they can help you with your staff. But I also think you can use those to show, hey, check. look at how complicated this is. Look at look at the high tech equipment we have to use. Um, I think it brings a level of understanding or awareness. And I, you know, look, if I get my knee replaced, I don't want to go to some place that I think that people in sterile processing are having to stand on their head to keep up. That's not. I don't want you to do it. I don't want it to be. I don't want the pilot standing on his head at the airplane I'm
True.
flying in. Right, man.
Right. Right.
That's it. So, I just think we're going through the last 10 years in sterile processing, we are going through a tremendous evolution where people like you and others are talking about what you do, and you're showing tremendous pride in what you do and what everybody in your space does. And you should, because if you don't take pride in it, nobody will. And it's coming. It's getting better. But
So
you
you
can't
said,
have this surgical tsunami, and you guys aren't ready for it, because that's what we're dealing with. These baby boomers are coming. We're doubling our cases. Our cases are doubling the next 10 years.
yep.
How are we going to keep up?
Yeah.
You know,
So
it's
as you said, in the last 10 years, so what is your most impressionable change from an OR cell processing standpoint that you've seen that you said, wow, I didn't think this would happen this quick?
that's a good question. What I have noticed, so when I was a full-time Globus spine rep in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, from 2005 to 2014, I did cases in probably, let's say, 14 hospitals. And I was thinking about this the other day. There've been a couple of hospitals built since then in that area, but every one of them except one has had a complete new sterile processing department built, of some significance, a couple $1 million spent, right?
Mm-hmm.
And because some of those places I was in 2007 were like mom and pop in the closet stuff. And so most of them have been invested in a significant level, but I always felt like it got them to where they needed to be in 2014. But we're in 2024 now, and I think we're still in a lot of those places in 2014 from do you have enough sonication machines? That seems to be a big one. Do you have the right robotic sinks?
Mm-hmm.
And that's sterile processing being forced to catch up to OR technology. So I saw a big investment, and it was good. But like most of the places, they're still trying to find educators, it seems like. And right now, you and I both know there's major staff shortages. There's more hospitals and more surgery centers and more procedures being done, and the same, maybe less sterile processing people than there were.
Really? I didn't notice that. I did not know.
I'm sensing some sarcasm.
Yes. So guys, for our audience, little Black History Month information. Garrett Morgan, 1923, invented the traffic light signal. So African American man in 1923 invented the traffic light signal. FYI. Yep.
Here's a problem. I never heard that before.
You never heard that before? Oh, well.
See?
Good information.
We have another societal problem that we'll have to do a different podcast on.
Yeah.
But 100 years ago.
Yeah.
How many stoplights have we been at in our life?
No, but then, I mean, you create more problems. How many tickets have I gotten for running those stoplights? This guy created a bunch of problems.
Podcast.
This guy created a bunch of a whole new income generating.
I know. I got a couple of those tickets.
There are people hired because of that. You know, not counting the persons who make the stoplights, the people who have to enforce the stoplights. The people that have
exactly.
to to use the stoplights. Pedestrians and
Yeah, yeah.
commuters, and who else? Kids, um, those traffic guards,
Hmm.
those school guards.
Yeah,
So
I
it's
like
it's
it.
it's a lot. I can't see the world without traffic lights right now.
Well,
So
not if we keep using cars. I mean,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
otherwise it's all circles, and that's not going to work
Maybe
either.
in 50 years we may not need traffic lights because the cars stop anyway.
Yeah, that'd be nice. That'd be
Yeah,
nice.
yeah.
Um,
If
so
there's
what
no
do you?
if there's
Oh,
no
sorry.
let me finish. If there's no light, the car doesn't stop. If there's another car, it'll stop. Autonomous
Look, you're
driving.
you're a forward looking man here, and I don't know if I could keep up with you. Uh, what do you see? Like, what's your big topic when you're talking about sterile processing? You live this every day. You get it. What you have a
So
good department, but
one of the big things I see that's lacking is, and I've been saying this for the last 10 years, is proper education. It's education. That's the main thing. Education. Education. We're in this fast pace, tech driven, do it now, let's get a computer
Mhm.
to do it, if not let's get a machine to do it type of world. We tend to glaze over that the human beings need upgrading too. You always get the upgrade from your PC. Oh, shut it off. There's upgrade. Even your cell phones too. Hey, we have this monthly, but we never upgrade. We never do a shutdown for the technicians. We never do an upgrade, a mandatory. Hey, you know, you gotta upgrade. That we do the online or
Yeah,
the continue see the computer based education, but that's really not cutting it.
yeah.
If you just click in yes and no, the A, B, and C, all of the above, that's not really a upgrade. Like
So
we,
how
Mhm.
would you fix that if I made you the czar and you we have to do what you say? What's the first thing you would you because part of that seems to me like um, it's so hard to train people
Mhm.
when you're working so hard trying to keep up. But
Mhm.
but like what's your sense of it? What would you improve overnight if you could?
Yeah, well, no, we don't have to invent the wheel. There are programs and processes in place already that are created to retain staff. Look
Hmm.
at the big CEOs. Hey, you bring your budget down this much, you get $1 million bonus. Like there are incentives you could put in place. I think people don't want to look at it in terms of stellar processing improvements, but like you could put those same incentives in place because even a few places have, hey, here's a sign-on bonus. You have to stay for a year. When you get that bonus, if you leave, you got to give it back. Like little incentives like that will help you retain staff. And then after 2 years, offer them another bonus, make them sign on again. Like you,
You know,
you,
that's
simple
inexpensive,
things.
by the way. That's an inexpensive way to retain people versus constantly trying to train and hire new people.
Yep. Yep.
And people, it's funny that psychologists, all the studies have shown that giving people more money doesn't necessarily make them happier at work, because they need to feel like they were appreciated. They have to have an opportunity, understanding the possibilities for promotion or just improving themselves and being part of something greater than they are. Like those are all factors to it. It's not, but money's a great place to start because it's the most tangible thing that it's a good way to show you care about your employees. It's not
Yeah.
the only way, and you need to do multiple things. But I really don't understand why I see so little of what you just described because it's not very expensive.
It's not. It's actually cheaper than hiring one new person
Yeah.
signing them on with health insurance, training them, and paying them $2 less, and then they
Yeah.
leave after a year.
Yeah. And by the way, your proctor's looking over their shoulder, so he or she is less productive.
Mhm.
So, yeah. It's it kills companies like churning employees. There's only one business that I know of that's ever figured out how to do that, and they accept it, and it's McDonald's. Right? McDonald's goes, we know we keep people 3 months, so they build this thing so that people can roll in and roll out of it. No other business can do it. It crushes businesses, and it's crushing sterile processing departments and operating rooms and hospitals because of it. It makes no sense. It's and I will not listen to people say, "Oh, you don't understand. That might cost us an extra $72,000 a year spread out
Mhm.
across my." Oh, okay. What's it costing you now? Because I'll bet if you tell me your turnover rates, which I have like a hospital told me, they're like, yeah, every year we hire 10 new people, and at the end of 18 months, 4 of them are still left, and it's good people. Like it's a good place. Like it's not like it's indicative of what we see everywhere. And I'm like, you're spending 150,000, not him, not them. That hospital is spending $150,000 a year to train people when they could just spend half of it and keep most of them.
So I have a new question I ask now. So do you want to
I,
be happy or do you want to be satisfied? So technically there's no right answer, but you know, I think the most satisfying answer is satisfying. So, you know,
I'm not sure. Everybody's definition of happy is
right,
and satisfied is different. I don't.
right. I
So
rather
you can't hit me with these big questions like this. I'm not ready for it, man. I'm not
so
smart enough to come up with
right.
something.
Happiness to me lasts for a little while. You can't be happy forever. So I'd rather be
Mm,
satisfied with my work, with my
yeah,
accomplishments, of what I do, than be happy.
yeah,
So a lot of companies I think want to be happy, and they're not trying to be satisfied. They look over being satisfied. You know,
yeah.
when if you're satisfied, you're not always happy. You might be paying your technicians a little more over market value. You may be overtraining if there's such a thing. You may have some of the best equipment, spending a little extra money on that. But yes, your cases are getting done on a regular basis. You have less issues, less turnover, um, and better quality.
Say way safer patients,
Way
way
safer,
happier
right?
patients. Like that's the thing. I think sometimes people think, oh, well, you're getting operated on. What do you mean you're happy? Well, let me give you an example.
Mhm.
I'm scheduled for the 10:30 knee scope, and because something happened, I get bumped until 2:30. And by the way, I haven't eaten, and now I'm getting hungry. Now I'm getting irritable. And if you think my patient satisfaction HCAP survey that they send to me that has tied to 2% of Medicare, if you think it's going to be a glowing report, it's
Mhm.
not. It
Mhm.
like, and it's this stuff has a cascade event aspect to it, and um, it, I swear, hospital leaderships, and I don't mean this in a negative way. I'm just saying like they should be going to
So we
hospitality
don't
training.
mean we need it in a positive way, in a positive as possible.
Yeah, I mean like hospitality training would be helpful um, because then they understand that patients are consumers,
Yeah.
and and um, and you want everybody to have a great experience. And
Mhm.
I think that CX mindset, the or UX mindset is coming, and I hear it in some places. Um, but boy, it, we spend 19 cents of every dollar spent on healthcare, and I don't think the product's very good. You know,
Wow.
um, yeah, it's crazy, and we spend more on healthcare than we do on the military, and everybody complains about how much we spend on the military. We spend that much GDP, 19% of our and it's going to go up to 23% in the next 10 years. So you think about that, almost a quarter of every dollar spent in the US is spent on healthcare. And I got a guy who works for me, and his daughter had a health episode, and they can't get the doctor to explain to them to their satisfaction what's happening. And that's just not acceptable. And they're being reasonable. It's not acceptable. And it's all this. We're consumers. And if my guy at the Nards department isn't properly built, invested in, educated, trained, staffed, and satisfied, let's use satisfied. You're taking care of hundreds of. You're taking care, like, think of a standard busy operating room. You're doing 30 patients a day. That's 150 patients a week. You're talking about several thousand patients a year, and they're just kind of going like, it's all right, I guess. Whatever. I mean, that's bad business. So it does have an effect. All right, now give me another. You have another good Black History Month. Did you know, like that last one with the stoplight?
Who did? Let me see. Hold on. I'm doing some designing in the background here. But before I do that, have you heard of the 3 E's? The three
I think
E's.
so.
You think so? So the 3 E's: effectiveness, ease, and emotion. That's how you satisfy your customers. The 3 E's of customer experience.
I'm writing it down. Effectiveness,
ease, effectiveness, and emotion. So here's one. Here is one right here. The electric microphone. Electric. I don't know what that is. Co-invented by James E. West in 1964. I don't know what that is. It's an electric microphone. Even for those who aren't quick to pick up the mic during karaoke, microphones are used every day to communicate over distances far and wide. And the vast majority of microphones used today, including the microphone used in iPhones and cameras, use a microphone co-invented by a black man, Dr. James E. West. He was tasked with creating a more sensitive and compact microphone while working at Bell Labs in 1960.
Yeah, I figured he had to be a Bell Labs guy because that place was no joke in its heyday, and all those things came out of there. That's interesting. I've not heard of James West. Now I got to look up James West and learn something.
Yeah. So mics, and even the mics in here. So we that's an important invention. Let me go one more. The carbon light bulb filament, invented by Louis Latimer in 1881. The carbon light bulb filament. So the little thing in the light bulb. Do I have any?
Yeah. The little filament that sort of glows.
Yes,
right?
Yes. So it was invented by Louis Latimer in 1881.
Wonder where he was. You don't have written right in front of you where he was.
The light bulb itself was perfected by Thomas Edison, but the innovation used to create longer-lasting light bulbs with a carbon filament came from African-American inventor Louis Latimer. Latimer, the son of formerly enslaved people, began work in a patent law firm after serving in the military for the Union during the Civil War. He was recognized for his talent in drafting patents and was promoted to head draftsman, where he co-invented the improved bathroom for railroad trains. Okay. All right.
Yeah,
this guy.
I'm googling him as we talk. This guy's really smart. Yeah. I'm looking at him like, wow, out of Flushing, Queens. Yeah.
Oh, Queens.
Yeah, he's from. I'm sorry. That's where he passed away in Queens. He's from Chelsea, Massachusetts. Oh, interesting. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah. That's interesting. And then we're kind of out of healthcare, so but there's just celebrating Black History Month and bringing some of these unknown names to you guys, because there are plenty of them out there, plenty of
Yeah.
those guys out there who've done a lot, um, in the world in general, not just the United States of America.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so in terms of, as you said it, kind of to get on my point a little bit, the customer satisfaction surveys.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
better to be satisfied than happy, because I think happiness feels like a fleeting moment. If you look for
Well,
satisfaction, you have a, um more of a purpose, I believe. If you look for
yeah.
satisfaction, if you're looking
Right.
for, I want to be happy, I want to be happy. Okay, great. How
Well, I
can you
think
really be happy?
don't you think
Sustain happiness, huh?
when you guys have a really good day at work and
Hmm.
you've knocked out a bunch of good work, you hit whatever it is you had to like you that's very satisfying
That's, yeah.
to right, and then
Right.
that makes you happy, right?
Yes, yes. It
Whereas,
makes, yeah, right. Versus the other way around,
yeah,
trying
yeah,
to just be happy and with no satisfaction behind it. Like, what have you done to be happy? Oh, I'm going home. I'm
so
happy. I'm going home.
Dinar, tell me, you're a smart guy, right? You have many interests. How did you end up in sterile processing, and what? It's a two-part question for you.
Mhm.
How'd you end up in sterile processing, and what is it that you like about it? Because I sense you do like it. I mean, it challenges you. You're
Yeah.
probably frustrated by some things, but that doesn't mean you don't like it,
Right.
or you don't care about it. So how'd you get into it? I don't know your story that well.
So I haven't told this many times. I probably have told it 1,000 times. So I'm not particular. And the people, like, when I started answering this question like this, there weren't many people answering it the way I am gonna answer it right now, which I stand pat on. The way I answer this question, when people ask it, like, why do you love cell processing? I said, it's not about cell processing. I like solving problems.
Hmm.
So I could have been a mechanic. I could have been
Yeah.
a doctor. I could have been,
Yeah.
stocking shelves in the supermarket. And, I like, so, I would be the best stacker, trying to figure out how to put as many cans in one spot, line them up, facing the label facing
Yeah.
forward. Yeah.
Yeah. And then figure the net tomorrow. How can I do it better or
Right,
faster? Right.
right, right.
Yeah.
So, I like solving problems, and so how I got into the field, I had a friend recommended. I had a good job. I had a great job. But I didn't feel used. I didn't feel like I
Mm.
didn't feel like I was solving anything. I felt like
Hmm.
everything just came like, oh, this is what you do, this is what you do, this is what you do. And I was like, I'm not getting used enough, to make a long story short. And then I started exploring, like, what can I do? What can I do? Actually, was gonna be the best massage therapist out there. And
Okay.
then I changed my, you have to build clientele. So I was like,
Hmm.
I'm not that good with people. So let me not do that.
I think you're great with people, but continue.
so so then I was like, okay, next option, still processing. So let me try this thing. I have no idea what this is. I did a little research, couple Googles and videos, and I saw what I saw online. And then I said, you know what, might as well do it. I'm in a hospital setting. It might be more structured. I might grow a little bit. So I'm like, let me try it out. So then when I got into, at the end of my class, there was this guy, which I know him now. I told him that when I saw him last year. He came. He was a vendor, and he came and he said, I used to be a tech like you. Then I started doing instruments. Then I started selling. Then I started going to this bigger company, and I started doing this, that, and I was like, the light just came on at that point. And I was like, oh, so I could be more than just a tech, because reading the book was like, decontamination, word terminology, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, what the heck am I doing? So then when he came to the class and started speaking about all the different areas you could excel in cell processing, I'm like, oh, I don't
Mm.
have to be in one room for 10 years. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
that was my fear. Like, where's the growth? And I didn't think how I'm thinking now. So, I took a long time to grow up. So So I wasn't thinking how I was thinking now, but I knew what I wanted. Like you have an inkling of what you want, but you can't explain it. So what
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
looking for was growth, and I was looking for ways I could solve problems, or I could think on my own. I could think about creating, making things better. So that's kind of what I was looking for. And then when he said, gave all these options of what he was doing and what where you could go with the profession, I was like, oh yeah, I could definitely do this. I could definitely. So then I got the urge to do it, get in, get an internship, and I was like, okay, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to go in all in. So before I got my first job, I paid for the HSPA conference. I spent like a good bit of money, and I
Yeah.
didn't even get my first job yet. And I was like, I'm gonna go to, where was
Oh,
that, Albuquerque? Or no, no, that was the horse bit, Nashville, Albuquerque, New Mexico. I think that was, no, 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 that was I forget. Where the Kentucky Derby.
oh,
That
Louisville,
was Kentucky.
Louisville.
Yeah, Louisville, Kentucky. Yeah, right, right, right. Louisville, Kentucky. That was the first one I think I went to, and that was the
Hmm.
best one. But I paid for it before I had a job. I had no idea what I was doing. I just said, you know what, I'm gonna go do it. So, um, after I got my
Wow.
first job, I went to it. I ended up getting my first job a couple of months after I made that reckless purchase. So, but I was all into it, and then whilst I
Wow.
was in it, I kept seeing like everything. I take a long time to process things because I always, what I do is I think of a different way to do it while you showing me how to do it, if that makes sense.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
so,
It does. It
so if
does.
you show me, tell me one on one is two, I'm like, is it really two? You know what I mean? Or is it three? Or is like, oh, is there a faster way to get to two? You know what I mean? Like I'll just think of like five different scenarios. Like let me work it out in my head
Yeah.
to see. So that's how I kind of learn. I exhaust everything, and then I'm like, okay, that's the fastest way.
Yeah.
So I would be a terrible tech right now coming up because I would bug the system and do things a different way. But I always appreciate people showing me the right way to do things. That's what I really always appreciate, because I'll always go and, like, even when back in the day I was pulling case cards, right? I always thought, like we had what, 50, 60 case cards to pull. I was like, okay, how can I pull these cards in the fastest time? So I
Right.
used to pull 3 cases at a time, 4 cases at a time. I used to pull all the lab cases. Then I'll go to the ortho, pull similar cases at the same time. Then the extra instruments, just boom, 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 load them up. So in an hour, I'll have like 15 cases pulled. And boom, 2 hours, 30. My other partner would do some, and then we'll just try and knock everything out. You know what I mean? Like, I
Yeah.
always try to think of the fastest, like, what's the, like, there's a better way, there's a better way. And that would, like, even assembling trays, Jesse won't like me saying that, but I always used to have a timer on my desk. Like when I got started assembling trees, I'm like, okay, this is boring as heck. It's the same major tree. So how can I make this some type of fun, learn, try and do this faster? So I kind of got down to like 4 minutes per, like, a 80 instrument tree. Like, just boom, 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 boom. Like, my inspection was trash, obviously. But But then I had a routine on how to glance at the instruments to ensure that, hey, boom, I check my box logs, check check my serrations, boom, 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 click. Next, boom, 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 boom. Like, it was a quick, like, because you don't want to set anything up, that will
Yeah.
affect the patient. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
you only get fast, but you don't want to get reckless fast.
Right.
So I slowly, like, how can I do it? Okay, how can I inspect this faster? Because working at a facility, you get to understand the quality of instruments you have at your facility. Now, if I'm just walking into a facility, I'm not going to assemble a tray in 4 minutes. I'm going to
Right.
make sure I understand the quality of instruments that come out on a regular basis. So after being there
Yep.
for a while, you understand, okay, this is our
Yep.
major issue. We less likely get this other issue. So, you know what I mean? So, like, in your mind, You know what to look for. What are the
Totally.
issues?
Yeah.
So it's not like I was just assembling just to be fast, because anybody could assemble and just group things together and put on a stringer. But I was assembling and being cognizant of what our major issues are, who's cleaning in decon, who
What
you
kind of
know,
mood are they in? Yeah.
run with it in, what time
Yeah.
of day it is. Like you have a bunch of those factors. Like, okay, let me try and knock this 20 trays out. So how fast can I do this 20 trays? So
Yeah.
that was kind of my mindset. And then once I got to that point where I knew I did it, I could do it, I'll move on to the next thing. So it wasn't like a every day I'm gonna do a tray in 4 minutes. It was like, okay, I mastered that. So now I
Right.
could take my time and do it
Well,
accurately.
you know
So
what's
let me go
funny?
master something else.
I it's fascinating. There's this confounding belief
Hmm.
that you can't do things well if you do them fast. And I understand the rationale behind it, and it's sort of counterintuitive, but in reality, you can, but it's you can't describe it that way, first of all. And the example is, can you do it correctly? And then once you've mastered correctly,
You're
can you
right.
do it correctly
Exactly.
faster, right? And this is because I'm a basketball guy. I use this example because most people are familiar with Kobe Bryant.
Mhm.
And all good athletes, all people who are good at their trade, whatever it is, uh, do this. They figure out a way. Like Kobe Bryant used to go practice the same move hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times so that he could get like this move towards the elbow and turn and pull up. Could he? It took him 6 steps. He wanted to get to five. He literally 5 steps, right? And three dribbles to two dribbles to one. Because if you can do that and maintain your effectiveness, you're harder to cover. You're a more efficient scorer. And so he would go do this for hours. And great players, great whatever it is. Like I watched an orthopedic surgeon do this. They weed out everything that they can that's extraneous without decreasing the quality. So you
Mhm.
you
Mhm.
train to quality first and you're slow. Once you master quality, then you
Right.
start to go, how do I do it? How do I do it
Right.
faster and maintain my
Right.
standard? And
Exactly.
I think that's the thing that always gets lost in these discussions because we don't want you doing it fast, but we we want you doing it right. And
Mhm.
then once you know how to do it right, let's figure out how we can do it right faster.
Right. Right.
Because
Right.
that is how good thing. And that's exactly what you were just
Yeah.
describing, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And and that's where like I think I know Jesse would probably say, like, hey man, you need to slow down to do it right. And you're like,
Right.
yeah, but
Right.
I am doing it right. And
Yeah.
I'm figuring out how to do it faster. It's because you're competitive with yourself. You're a problem solver, and you're convinced there's better ways of doing it. So you have some industrial engineer in your brain too, and that's interesting. And you found that challenge in sterile processing. It sounds like in because that's what you you find that's really interesting. I love talking to people about how they end up where they are and what they like about it and why. And you just
Mhm.
described a bunch of it. I
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Because there's always problems, and some of the problems I think are simple, uh, simple but not easy.
Right.
It-
Right. There is a difference. Yeah. There's a big difference.
Yeah, so
Um,
there's simple problems, but like the solution might not be as easy as it seems. Sometimes the solution is, but training your mind to think that way is the more complex issue. So
yeah.
you'd say, okay, you get a facility that what step can I say? Who wrap, and you tell them, hey, use a container. To some people that were like, why not? Duh. Use the container, you stop the holes, you like you get a filter, boom, boom, boom. You could, yeah, man, like all the little dings and stuff you get with a wrap
Yeah.
tray, you won't get it. And some places like, no, we can't put that in a container. We love wrapping. Even at facilities I've been, I would say, hey, we keep wrapping this tray. You know what, guys? I'm gonna buy containers so I will stop wrapping it. And I had technicians tell me I rather wrap.
Hmm.
It's easier for me to wrap.
So it's interesting. Were you surprised by that when they said that to you at first? First time you heard that?
In a way, I understood what they were saying. They're accustomed to the process. Like you have your process for this tray. You go through the count sheet, boom, boom, boom. You fold it, whatever, boom. You put it on your wrap table. You go through the motions, boom. That's your tray. Like everything you do, you have this clock in your head. You have this autopilot in your head. So when
Right,
your
right.
when you have to change your autopilot, it's like, dang, I have to get new directions now. So it's like I'm familiar with going to the store down the street around the corner. Now you tell me that store closed down, I have to go to another store. That's imagine the other store is even closer, but it's just another direction.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because I was wondering if you were going to say, because I do think there's a satisfaction, back to that word again, to wrapping a tray and it
Mm,
being really, like, really well done. I know how
mm,
much pride a lot of people take in that, and I was curious, like, if that was something. It's not what you
mm.
described, so maybe I'm applying
I don't
something,
know.
but
That could
like,
be too. That could definitely
I
be
was just
too.
curious
You put
because
your special touch on it, like your
yeah,
individual.
I mean, you
That's how
you
I
see
rap.
people who do it, and you're like, my God, that like it looks like a machine did it. It's so good,
It's so
and
clean.
And then you come in and say, "Hey, we're thinking about going to containers." I can understand somebody who say, like, "Hey, I kind of take pride in that. I'm good at it." And
Hmm.
there is a satisfaction. It's like it's like blowing the leaves or finishing a crossword puzzle or whatever. Like there's a satisfaction to finishing it and doing it well. That I was just curious because not everybody's going to answer it the same way, but it, it's
I
it, it
I've
it
I feel
is
that one. I feel that one. Yep, yep. That makes
yeah.
sense. That makes
I don't.
sense.
You
But
can
then
also
you have
tell
to
me I'm
look
full
at
of crap.
guys. We want to do it faster.
Yeah,
me again. Like guys, we want to do this faster. Like if we
yeah.
get away from the wrap, get put the filters in, put the locks on, we're good
So
to go.
you definitely like it's. I would say you presume that it eliminates a lot of the defects, right? From the holes, it clearly does, and it gives you a sense of the integrity of the packaging.
Yeah.
But do wet packs then offset the holes that you eliminate? I don't know because I'm just curious. Uh, which again, what you do is complicated
Yeah.
and it's complex. And I used to be in these places and they'd say, "Hey, our steam changes when the weather changes." And I'm like, "I have no idea what you're talking about." And they were and they were right. Like, and some of that's been fixed as they've upgraded all their facilities. But there's no two ways about it. Like that the fall weather changes and steam quality would change. And I remember hearing that going, I had no idea. And I've told surgeons that, and they say to me, I had no idea. I'm like, yeah, that's why you got to go talk to them, right? Like, so do you feel like, is that an issue? Are those wet packs an issue nowadays like they were for a while? Um, because holes are always a problem, always.
Well, that's a question with how do I say that? So it still is a problem. It's based on the mindset of those people experiencing the problem. So you have less people saying, oh my God, it's a wet pack," and you have more people like, "Okay, I know what this is. I know what time of year it is. I know what quality steam I have."
Yeah,
It's based on the education. That's why
yeah,
we're going
yeah,
back to, as Cat Williams goes back to the beginning of his joke, we're going back to the investment in education.
yeah,
Like the reset, like your computer reboots, your phone reboots. Like, hey, we have this upgrade. There's no upgrade for cell processing. There's the level ones, and that's really not an upgrade. A lot of that is
yeah,
determined by whether your manager thinks you're good or not.
yeah,
Some of the
yeah,
best techs with bad attitudes never get upgraded because they have a bad attitude. Like, let's separate the quality of
yeah.
work from the
from the person doing it.
from the person doing it. Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So a lot of those things are factored together, which I don't think makes sense. If you're good at what you're doing, whether you have a bad attitude or you're always late, it shouldn't matter.
Well, yeah. Yeah. You're absolutely right. And, you know, just something from an outsider. If you worked in I live in Hershey, Pennsylvania, right? Food town makes candy. Um, when I tell people around here, engineers, stuff that work, that like, oh yeah, our quality control in the operating room when it comes to blue wraps for sterile instruments is we open it up and we hold it up to the light and we look for holes.
Hmm.
And they're like, say that again? Like that that's your quality check? And I'm like, oh yeah, don't worry. They just kind of go like this and go, yep, it looks good. Like, and um that's what's so like again, it's $19, 19 cents on every dollar. And we get nurses checking for blue wrap holes, holding it up to the light in the ceiling. And that's our quality check. Um and it's just not commensurate with the what is about to happen. Because if you get a bad chocolate bar, you know, bad things can happen, but not really. You get a bad instrument because you had a hole in something and you get egress into it, and you're talking about IV antibiotics for 6 months or worse. Um, and I think that's the classic example of the way I think the industry is. Uh, Healthcare operating room industry is getting better because that's not acceptable for a quality standard. It just isn't. Um, but yeah, yeah. So what else? What else you want to cover before we?
No, I think we covered the majority of stuff for this Valentine's Day. I hope you guys, if you haven't gone get your flowers, it's too late. I'm sorry. You're gonna get the wilted, rough edges. You know, you may have to do some pruning on your own, but it's not gonna be good quality. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, you're too late. And if you're gonna go to flowers.com, probably gonna cost you twice as much. So
Yeah.
you know, so guys, sorry for your loss. You you could you could probably go old school, kindergarten, draw your own card, get some crayons.
or
That's
or go cut somebody your neighbor's roses out of the rose bush.
it's almost spring. If you see some early roses
You
blooming,
weren't using those,
go
were you?
right. Go to the garden. If you're on the East Coast, I mean you're in trouble. If you're on the West Coast, all right, good. In down south, great. Go. I'm not advising you do that, but I mean you gotta do what you gotta do. Guys,
That's hilarious.
Black History Month. If you want to know where I got this T-shirt, reach out to me. I'll send you a link. It's a great. Let me see if I
It
could.
is.
Whoop. It shows all the great leaders, mug shots. So
Meaning all of them were arrested at some point
yeah,
for their beliefs and the color of their skin.
yep, yep. So Nelson Mandela, Martin Luther King, Malcolm
Yeah.
X,
Malcolm X.
yeah, Marcus
Looks like Rosa
Garvey.
Parks. Is that Rosa Parks right under your chin? It looks like. Other direction. Right there.
I think
Yeah,
so. I'm not sure.
I think
Probably.
it is.
Yeah. That
Hmm.
looks like a. Yeah, that looks like a. I've seen
Yeah.
that mugshot before. I think that's Nelson right here. I think
Mm-hmm.
Nelson Mandela right here. I don't really know them by face.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you want a link to the shit, let me know. And also, guys, I'll save that for the next show. I have some new stuff coming out on my Etsy store. Maybe I should just mention it, guys.
Yeah.
I have the first um Star Processing jigsaw puzzles coming out. So yes, 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 yes. On my Etsy store, check them out. I got a jigsaw puzzle. I'll leave the link in the description for the video, or just send me a message. I got some jigsaw, and the jigsaw puzzles are really big, guy. It's a guys, it's 1,000. So this is my first jigsaw puzzle. I'm gonna show it to you guys now. I'm just gonna blow it up.
I want to
So
see it.
so this is the first jigsaw puzzle I have. So this is it, the first
I like
one.
it.
But we'll be creating some more fun jigsaw puzzles. Um, um,
I love it.
for the stellar processing community, so that you guys could have some fun stuff, some instruments, some Where's Waldo's. Um, we're gonna or Where's Sterile MD. So we're gonna have some fun jigsaw puzzles. So check out the store, guys. Get yourself a jigsaw puzzle. The first. I mean, at least I'm glad to say I'm the first something. Jeez,
Yeah,
So get your
that's
first
great.
cell processing jigsaw puzzle, guys. Support the show. Get your jigsaw puzzle, and hope you enjoy it. And let me know. Take a photo with it. Let me know if you like it.
I love it, Denard. You are an entrepreneur, and I love it.
Man, we're trying. We have some big things coming on with one of the big companies in the industry. So I don't want to say too much. You know, you could say
Just
AB,
tease us. That's called a tease in
BC.
the business. I like it. I like
Yeah.
it.
So, oh yeah, guys. Mission trips. I'm planning
Mm.
on going to a mission trip next month to Jamaica. So I'm looking for sponsors for that. If anybody wants to sponsor, please reach out. Um,
Hey,
trying to go.
I'll sponsor.
Oh,
Yeah,
appreciate.
I'll talk to you. I'll communicate with you. Just send me where, and I'll sponsor.
Well, appreciate.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
we're trying to do Jamaica next month and Guatemala again in the fall. So yeah, so
Is that where you and Sean went?
yeah. So we're
Yeah,
trying to go. We're trying to go back there. It's not cheap, but we're trying to see if we could get a little sponsorship to help us with the FN and room and board. So
yeah.
we appreciate anything you guys could help with. So thank you in advance.
I'm in, Denard.
Appreciate. So and
Yep.
anybody wants to reach out to me, the email is right there. You wondering why this name is there all the time? It's
I try to point to his. That doesn't work.
it's right here. This is my email. Give me a shout out. Put in the subject sponsor and sponsorship, and reach out to me, and we could see if we could get some good work done in Jamaica and Guatemala this year.
Yeah.
So, but thank you guys for watching. Thank you, Mr. Copeland. Appreciate you. Anytime, come on. If you have anything to say, anything you want to promote, feel free to come back. Would love to have you back on. You're one of our
Uh,
the guests of the show, as so to speak.
I appreciate it. Keep doing what you're doing, my friend. I appreciate it. And if I can help anybody, you tell them you know how to get in touch with me. You send them my way. I'm getting
I
a puzzle, and I'm sponsoring your trips.
appreciate. Thank you. And guys, we're heading out. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Peace.